Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about motivation and the Swat-556. You wouldn't normally think those two things go together, but at least in my case they do. The gameplay that you're going to be seeing is, surprise surprise, gameplay of the Swat-556. I'm using Quick Draw, stock, and the ACOG sight with a new ACOG sight. I've been a big fan of the Carrot sight, but now I'm using this. It's the Blood something. It's just a vertical line with a tiny dot. It helps keep me on track. I really like it. I'm thinking I'm going to swap most of my ACOG guns over to this sight. It just helps me aim very well. And what we're talking about today is motivation. I have motivational issues when it comes to making in-depth episodes on occasion, especially with guns that I don't like the 556. I don't like this gun. I am not good with this gun. I don't think that it is a good gun. Even after the buffs, it's certainly a better gun. It shoots faster, it does more damage, less burst delay, better range. A lot of different things made the gun better. It's usable now, but that doesn't necessarily mean I like it. It's definitely not one of my favorite guns, and it's one that I very much so struggle to play with. So the question is, well, Drifter, why are you using this gun that you don't like? What's the motivation behind that? My motivation behind that is I want to make an in-depth episode on it. I want to make an in-depth episode about the buff on the gun, and I want to do that because I like teaching people new things, and I like keeping up to date with the guns and all that sort of stuff, and the SWAT's a natural choice. The other motivation thing that I'm having problems with lately is my gamer fitness exercise. For those of you following me, this is kind of a gamer fitness episode. We're going to move into school and some other topics, commentaries, as a matter of fact, later too, but I do not like exercise. I really hate exercising. I try to give off a more positive image when I'm doing the exercise videos, but that's not really the case. I'm a big negative Nelly when it comes to exercising. This is me at the end of exercising. Believe me, I have looked sexier and I have looked happier. This is actually me now after my new haircut. I think I look much better now, but I don't like it. Some people wake up at 6 in the morning and they're morning people and they're bright and they're chipper and they're like, yeah, hey, it's a beautiful day and the birds are singing and let's go on an 8-mile run, and I'm not one of those people. I can't do that. I'm just totally not feeling that. And the question is, then why do you do it? If you hate it so much, if you can't stand exercising so much, if you don't like the SWAT, then why are you bothering with him? Well, I like to exercise only marginally less than I like to be out of shape. I do not like to be out of shape, and I do not like to have to exercise and do hard work, but I dislike the out of shape worse than I dislike the exercise. And when it comes to the SWAT, I dislike the SWAT less than I dislike not making a good episode of In-Depth. I prefer to do quality here on this channel over quantity, and as an example of such, I actually did this entire commentary twice today. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my voice. It was echoey, it sounded weird, and I realized my computer was not reading my microphone correctly, and all of my settings were screwball, and especially on the second take, I thought I had it fixed, I thought I nailed it, and I did a version of this commentary that I thought, honestly, was probably superior to this version, with the exception of the fact that it sounded like I recorded it with a potato, and I don't think that you wanted to hear me record with a potato, so again, I had to go and redo all of my settings, redo my drivers, finally fix that microphone, and that was my motivation. It was the trade-off. I had to decide, did I want to do this extra work and re-record, or did I want to make maybe not as good of a commentary as what I wanted? Same thing goes with the SWAT. It's like, do I want to make an okay episode of In-Depth and just take somebody's footage of the SWAT and run over the numbers real quick, or do I want to make a damn good episode of In-Depth and use my own footage and my own numbers and my own experience and master this weapon? And that's what you kind of have to do when you're trying to motivate yourself. Sometimes it's just the opposite. These are all examples where I weighed my alternatives. It's like, do I want to do this? Yes. Well, then is it worth the work? Yes. There's sometimes it's no. And we're going to move into school as a good example of this. A lot of people ask me, how do you motivate yourself to study? How do you study and play video games? And you think about it from an economic standpoint. And economics, everybody equates to money. The study of economics is not money. The study of economics is decision making with limited resources. In this case, the resource is going to be your time and your effort and perhaps your patience as well. And when I was in school, I had decisions I had to make. I had to decide if I was going to study for a test or if I was going to go out and have fun with my friends, cruise around, party, whatever we did in high school. And I sat there and I weighed. It's like, well, do I have the 30 minutes or an hour to study, or am I going to go and play? And I went to a private school. It was very hard. So we had tests every single day. Every single day there was a test. There was no day without a test. So I had to go through this a lot. And in most cases, I chose to go ahead and study and do the other stuff later. There were a few days where I just decided I don't like this class. I feel confident in the subject matter. I don't care about the teacher. I'm too bored. It's not worth it to me to continue to study. I'm going to go out and have fun. And when I made that decision, sometimes my grades suffered. Sometimes they could have been better. Sometimes I got by okay, but a lot of times I definitely would have done better if I had studied. And that was the trade-off for me. In that position, it was worth it to not do the work. This is the exception to the rule. Very rarely are you going to find yourself not able or willing to, not able or willing, not wanting the result of the work. Another example I'll use is when I was in college, I had a capstone class called Energy Systems Design. I was a mechanical engineer, and this class encapsulated a lot of what I learned in fluid mechanics. It also included a lot of heat transfer and thermodynamics into one big monster class, and we had projects like design a CHP system for an entire airport, which sounds simple enough, but it has a shape and you have your pipes going up and down and they lose heat all the way through. And our reports, when we would finish them, were about 40 pages of math. This is not 40 pages of Excel spreadsheets that do addition and subtraction all the way down. This is 40 pages of calculus and differential equations and some other forms of math that the professor had to show us because we didn't learn it in our prerequisite classes. This was not a fun thing for me to do. Also not fun because my group mates were like two best friends that had been doing every class together and they had opposite schedule than me. So I was always the odd guy out, and they would do the work that was easy and leave me with the shaft, and I'd get the hard work, which was not very fun, but that's how it was. And there were many a days where I had to sit down and make this decision, like, is it worth my time to do this homework? Is it worth my time to study for this test, to finish this project? And my alternatives were thus. I could have at any point decided not to do it and go and play basketball, going out to parties, going out to eat, just do whatever with my friends. It'd be totally fine. Or I could do the work, I could sit at home and study, and I would get a grade. If I did not do the work, I would probably not pass the class and I'd have to retake it in 6 months. Might have been the only class I'd retake in 6 months. I'd hold up getting on my degree. Or if I did the work and did pass the class, I'd miss out on playing, and I just had to choose which thing I didn't want the least. Did I want to miss out on playing more, or did I want to fail and redo again? I decided I didn't want to fail and redo, so that's how I manned up and did it. It was a simple choice. I decided it was worth my work, time, and effort to do that. Same kind of thing goes here with in-depth. And sometimes just getting started can be the hardest part. I think I actually did a whole other commentary on just getting started. This one's been about evaluating negative alternatives. But in a lot of cases, you get kind of afraid of the work. And I do admit that afraid is perhaps not the most technically correct term. I kind of feel it in my gut a little bit when I see massive projects coming due. I actually procrastinated on the Elgato video that came up recently, for the same reason, because that one took a lot of editing, a lot of screenshots, a lot of voice manipulation, that sort of stuff. And, I had to be very careful with my own particular audio because I'm giving a tutorial about audio, and I didn't want to do it. It was like, oh God, this video again, nobody's going to view it, I don't like it, what if other people don't like it, I just don't care. I would rather do a commentary, I'd rather do in-depth, I'd rather play League of Legends, and I just put it off and put it off and put it off, and the hardest part is just reaching into that inner sanctum of your heart and just forcing yourself, all right, we're going to do it, we're going to start. My favorite tactic for starting was usually just organizing. We're going to make a list of things to do, writing a paper, I'm going to kind of outline my topics, I'm going to get the facts in order, I'm going to start doing little things. I usually do 3, 4, maybe 5 little things, and then like, okay, I've got this set up to where my big thing is going to be easier, and I'd roll into my first big thing, and then to the next big thing, and you would get on a pretty good roll, and almost never has the work, the exercise, the challenge, the paperwork, the gun, the executioner was actually a hell of a challenge here, but it was never as bad as what I was expecting. Maybe in a few rare instances, but even then you get on a roll and you can keep going and you will eventually get it done. It does not kill you. The thing to keep in mind is that this is a passing thing, that nothing that you do is going to last forever, and most people use this as, oh, good things don't last forever. Well, yeah, well, bad things don't last forever either. That was my philosophy when mowing the yard when I was a kid. I was like, ugh, this is terrible right now, but me from 20 minutes from now is already done and enjoying a popsicle, so it's going to be much better. And that's the kind of philosophy you need to have to motivate yourself. Hopefully I'm helping you here, helping you understand things, evaluating alternatives, and the gameplay here has been kind of riveting. I was really proud of myself in this particular gameplay. I had been playing in sort of a split subscriber lobby in Ground War in the morning. I had 2 people on the other team, Canadians that owned a tattoo shop, and we were talking about getting tattoos or my wife getting a tattoo, and the other guy on this team had been opposite from us for like the last 3 games, so we were beating up on him. And when we swapped over, my 2 Canadian tattoo artist buddies decided they were going to go as hard as they could on me, and I decided to one-up them a little bit with my SWAT now that I finally unlocked the stock attachment, and the other guy decided to help me out. And this was my big gripe with this. I didn't want to do this. I don't like this stock. The gameplay's going to suck. It's going to be frustrating for me to do my in-depth episode with this gun, but I forced myself to start it. I just played around kind of goobery until I got the attachments I want, which is my little things, and it built into a big thing, a much better gun with a better build, and I blowed through, and I think I got excellent gameplay here again. As a matter of fact, it was so excellent, even though it's a somewhat lazy thing to do, you may see it again in an in-depth episode, because it was just, I kind of liked it. Anyway, I hope that you learned something from this commentary. I hope that you enjoyed it, and maybe not all of these tips apply to you, but hopefully a few of them did, and just think about me whenever you need some motivation. Drifter out.